Greetings. Welcome to the UA Little Rock Distinguished Alumni Awards, a tradition that dates back to 1952. My name is Christy Smith, and I am Senior Director of Development and Interim Director of the Alumni Association. We are here today to honor three special individuals: Katie Zakreski, Becky Blass, and the Honorable Ronald Sheffield. At this time, Chancellor Christina Drell will offer her special words of welcome.
Welcome to this year's Distinguished Alumni Awards celebration. I am pleased that our alumni and friends from around the globe are able to come together virtually this year to celebrate the outstanding accomplishments of our honorees. The individuals being honored today have a long track record of service to UA Little Rock and the Central Arkansas community. They are outstanding examples of what we strive to cultivate in our students: intellect, commitment, and grit. During this celebration, you will notice a common theme. A UA Little Rock education will prepare students not just for the careers they aspire to today, but also for the ones they don't know are out there. Our students are agile and adaptable to a changing world, and we've all been reminded how important that is in today's landscape. Wherever life takes them, we instill in our students the importance of engagement and contributing to the welfare of one's community. We all do well when we do good. At UA Little Rock, we have rededicated ourselves to educational attainment by improving access through our expanded scholarship opportunities and by enhancing student success with more investments in wraparound student services. Behind every successful student are the dedicated faculty and staff making sure that no one misses out on their potential. But you already know that because you have experienced that transformation firsthand. So thank you for joining us today and for helping us stay Trojans strong. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. James Bobo, Alumni Board President.
Thank you so much, Chancellor Drell. Good morning. Welcome to the 2020 UA Little Rock Distinguished Alumni Awards celebration. I'm James Bobo, and I'm proud to be the president of the UA Little Rock Alumni Board of Directors. We are delighted that you've chosen to spend a part of this fall day with us. At this time, I would like to acknowledge a long-standing partnership Baptist Health holds with UA Little Rock and appreciate their many contributions to our institution as they have sponsored this event for several years. We look forward to their support next year as we hopefully will be able to celebrate more traditionally. But before we celebrate the current winners, we would like to recognize our former Whitbeck Award President's Awards and Distinguished Alumni Award recipients. While we're unable to publicly recognize you, your names were shown prior to this event. We look forward to seeing you next year. I would also like to recognize our scholarship recipients. This year, more than 40 students have received scholarships from the Alumni Association and Foundation Fund Board. Congratulations to each one of you. These students are the beneficiaries of gifts made to the Alumni Association, Fund Board scholarship endowments, and gifts that so many of you have also contributed. Our Alumni and Foundation Fund Board scholarship committees worked tirelessly in choosing these very deserving scholarship recipients, and we're indebted to them for making the time to complete the selection process. Thank you so much. We celebrate today the accomplishments of three of this institution's best. The Honorable Ron Sheffield, our 2020 Distinguished Alumnus. Mrs. Becky Blass, this year's President's Award recipient. And Ms. Katie Zakreski, the Edward L. Whitbeck Memorial Award recipient. They are outstanding in every way. Before I call our first presenter, Dr. Simon Hawkins, who will introduce the Edward L. Whitbeck Memorial Award recipient, I'd like to acknowledge those past Whitbeck recipients who may be joining us today. Thank you all for attending today, and now I'm pleased to call Dr. Simon Hawkins, Director of the Donaghy Scholars Program, to the podium. Whitbeck Award recipient Katie Zakreski personally asked that Dr. Hawkins introduce her as she receives this honor.
Introducing 2020's Whitbeck Memorial Prize winner, Katie Zakreski, is a personal pleasure, but something of a daunting challenge. Where to begin? Katie's academic record is impressive, even for a Whitbeck winner. And I'll note in passing that Katie is the 28th consecutive Donaghy Scholar to win this award, so we have some experience in this area. Katie has a 4.0 in her double major of anthropology and criminal justice, and won a slew of awards for her academic work and research. She was also president of the Student Government Association, chair of the Donaghy Student Committee, and president of multiple university clubs. Bluntly, Katie is a force on this campus. I've been in high-level meetings where questions arose about student perspectives, and some dean or vice chancellor would say, "Let's ask Katie Z." And everyone around the table would nod and the conversation would move on. No need to discuss further. Katie Z would take care of it. And she always did. More than anyone I know, student, faculty, or administrator, Katie is committed to this university and the people in it. She goes to the games, attends the concerts, and applauds the performances. Yes, Katie leads, but she isn't afraid to follow. She does a great deal of volunteer work to support causes and people close to her heart that never winds up on her resume. For Katie, this is just the stuff you're supposed to do, not something to draw attention to. Katie's commitment to her studies stems from her desire to be a better leader and community member. She knows that to be a force for change, she needs to understand the world. From the first time I met her, it was clear that Katie was special. In our admissions interviews, we push applicants on the positions they take in their application essays. Katie had taken a classic and self-identified conservative position, and we were prepared to challenge her with the classic contrary position. We expected a spirited and engaging debate, but Katie, as we came to learn, is not interested in scoring political points. She sidestepped the ideological argument and went straight to solutions. She was thoughtful, data-driven, pragmatic, and quick to understand the perspective of those seemingly opposed to her. Katie believes that politics is about helping people. This pattern only strengthened during her time at UA Little Rock. In her classes, she learned about climate change and became deeply concerned. She interned with the Audubon Society because she believed that clean energy, a healthy planet, and reduced dependence on foreign oil aligned with her values as a political conservative. The fact that her party disagreed with her was just something she would have to change. And indeed, last year, Citizens Climate Lobby flew her to Washington, D.C., where she was able to lobby Arkansas politicians for bipartisan solutions to climate change. Katie is a loyal friend and generous mentor. If this list of accomplishments sounds sanctimonious and dull, then you haven't had the pleasure of meeting Katie. She's one of the funniest people I've met. The details are hazy, but in seminar, she once said something so funny that I literally fell out of my chair laughing. We had to make a new rule for that class. Don't break the professor. Katie is going to make a difference in the world, both on the largest and smallest scale. She will fight for and support the causes and people she loves and believes in. It gives me great pleasure to introduce you to the winner of the 2020 Whitbeck Memorial Prize, Katie Zakreski.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank the university for giving me this recognition. I'm so very thankful to be here today, and it's so nice to reconnect with my Trojan community after a rather abrupt ending this past spring. Also, thank you to Dr. Hawkins for introducing me and for playing such a huge role in my educational career. Thank you to all of the faculty and staff members who played such a pivotal role in my life, not only in my time as a student, but as a recent graduate turned adult. I have nothing but gratitude in my heart for those who have molded and impacted my life. It seems like every time I've been preparing to make a big decision or I was about to encounter a change in my life, wise people would come along at just the right time and they'd share a similar sentiment with me. And despite what Dr. Hawkins said, I don't consider myself to be wise, but I'd like to share that same sentiment with you all today. Of all the utensils ever created, one of the most important is the fork. And it's not just because I'm a big fan of food, as I'm sure you've all already guessed, but it's because of the sentiment behind the fork. Every dinner I've ever been at, or any special event, surrounded by family and friends and loved ones, whenever plates were being cleared away, someone would always remind me to keep my fork, because the best was yet to come. While the best for me at dinners might have been my grandpa's bread pudding, I realized that the best that was yet to come wasn't always limited to the food that was in my life. Shortly before I graduated high school, my high school principal reminded me to keep my fork, because the best was yet to come. Thanks to faithful Trojans at UA Little Rock and in the surrounding community, I was able to receive my degrees, study abroad, and compete all across the world, showcasing the talent that we have here in the state of Arkansas, absolutely free. Coming from a lower income family as a first-generation college student, this opportunity seemed unheard of. I thank all of our donors and supporters and ask them to continue to help young Arkansans like me pave the way for our nation's future. When I first took office as SGA president in the fall semester of 2019, the world looked very different from what it does right now. But I challenged our Trojan family, both those still in school and those who had graduated, to be the change that they wanted to see in the community. I challenged our Trojans in and out of school to get involved with the world around them and to fix injustices themselves instead of waiting for somebody else to do it. While things may not look the way that I had originally envisioned, the progress that this community has made in spite of economic uncertainty, political tumult, and health crises is unprecedented. This community has continued to work together and to thrive and to solve problems for the betterment of all. To say that I'm proud is an understatement. I'm so incredibly fortunate to be part of a community that cares so much about one another and that works together to better themselves for the betterment of those around them. Students, faculty, staff, donors, and supporters, all Trojans. It is up to you now to be the difference that you want to see in the world, not only in your community, but in the whole world. I know that things are so incredibly hard right now, but don't give up. We've made it this far. Our community is destined for glory. And keep your fork, because the best is yet to come. Thank you.
Congratulations, Katie. Our next presentation is the President's Award, given to a graduate who is successful in their career, donates time and talents in service to the community, and remains in touch with the alma mater as a volunteer leader and resource. We're thankful to our past recipients. Becky Blass earned a bachelor's degree in business administration in 1973 and earned a Juris Doctor from UA Little Rock's law school, now called the Bowen School of Law, in 1982. A tireless supporter of scholarships, Becky was active in Chi Omega sorority as student and is still involved with the organization today. She was instrumental in establishing its first endowed scholarship and assisted in the sorority's 50th anniversary celebration in 2014. She is also the immediate past president of the UA Little Rock Alumni Board of Directors and has been a proponent of encouraging alumni to establish needs-based scholarships. We will now watch a tribute to Becky from her husband, Gus Blass III, her law school classmate, the Honorable Randy Morley, and a friend, Miss Maury Douglas.
When I think of Becky, I think about this is somebody every time you need something, you call on Becky because you know that she is going to come through.
If you ask Becky to do something, you just have to get out of the way because you can scratch it off the list. It's going to get done.
And I think this has just kind of been a theme throughout her life that she's been a leader. She has always been a role model for others, but she never takes herself seriously.
Becky had a confidence that was based in real-world experience. She was the type of person that you really didn't have to do much reaching out to her. She was very perceptive from her experience at spotting people who needed help and lending it.
She's got so many friends. She knows everybody. Everybody knows Becky. Everybody loves Becky who's ever been around her. And once you're a friend of Becky, you are a friend for life.
She exuded class, grace, intelligence. She was also very down to earth.
She lives the way she acts, and she's a hard worker, and she doesn't need any prompting or follow-up to get her to do her part.
She served on so many committees here. I think she gets called on for every committee, and she never says no. She always tells me, you should say no, Maury. And I said, well, you say no first.
Long-term commitment of promotion of an institution that she appreciates what it did for her. She's demonstrated that over these past many years, and I think will continue to do so. Her involvement has occurred on a number of levels: fundraising, involvement with Greek sororities.
She served as president of the YWCA on the Y board for several years. She was on the Trinity Episcopal School Board, and she was on the St. Vincent's Women Advisory Board.
President of the Alumni Board is a significant contribution and commitment, and I felt very confident that she'd be able to be a guiding hand in that.
I think every chancellor in the last 40 years have appointed her to some position or committee out here.
Becky always looks at the students at UA Little Rock as students maybe like she was, that she worked, and she wants to make things available to them. She wants them to have the best college experience that they can so that they don't have to work so many jobs, and she helps them find scholarships. She donates to scholarships at UA Little Rock. She led the Chi Omega Endowed Scholarship. She's on the committee right now for All In for UA Little Rock to raise money. She's always out there trying to make students have the best experience that they can at UA Little Rock.
And she really not that interested in titles or recognition. She signs up just to hopefully that the people benefit from her presence on that organization.
Becky, I'm really glad that you asked me to participate in this. I'm very happy that you're the recipient of the President's Award this year. You're certainly deserving, and I look forward to seeing your face after you get it.
Becky, congratulations on this well-deserved award. It was a long time coming, and you're certainly deserving. We're all very proud of you and wish you well on this special day.
I can't think of anybody more deserving. For all your years of service to UA Little Rock, congratulations.
Please join me in welcoming the 2020 President's Award recipient, Becky Blass.
Good morning. I'd like to first recognize and thank Christy, James, Chancellor Drayle, and Christian. You each provide UA Little Rock an invaluable service, and I salute you and thank you for presenting me with this year's President's Award. I'd also like to take this time to thank both my husband, Maury, and Randy for their lovely videos. Congratulations, Katie, for being awarded the prestigious Whitbeck Student Award, and to you, Ron, for being recognized and selected as this year's Distinguished Alumnus. Education has always been a tremendous passion and driving force for me since I was a kid. Growing up in Little Rock and being raised in a single-parent family, I realized that I'd have to be responsible for any higher education. So here's how I began to try to make that happen. As a third grader at Jefferson Elementary, I somehow came up with the bright idea to write letters to what I thought were the top two universities of the world, Oxford and Cambridge in Great Britain. I must have caught a city bus downtown to visit the public library for help. There was no internet or Google back then. I got their addresses and wrote them letters asking for advice. I actually got responses back, and that's when I really began to try to kick it up. As we all know, following graduation from high school, we have two paths to choose between: a college degree program or a path to train and acquire the skills for professional trade. Back in the late 60s, when I began my freshman year at LRU as a 17-year-old, there were very few options for financial assistance. Most of my classmates lived at home and had part-time jobs. It was a struggle for us all. Many graduates finished their degrees with substantial student loan debt. But we each graduated with a top-notch degree, and we're all well prepared for our futures. I want to share some numbers with you today, which I just got yesterday from our Vice Chancellor of Enrollment and our Director of Financial Aid and Scholarships. It's absolutely amazing, and it makes me so proud of UA Little Rock. I don't think I've ever seen this number of the total amount of financial aid that goes through our office annually. I've asked a couple of people since to guess, and everyone's been way off. $85 million was given in student aid in the last full calendar year. I think even Jonathan was shocked. He's our fellow that provided the numbers here. And he's also my son's age, and so I think he's on it. Anyway, thank you, Jonathan. Okay, now this $85 million includes institutional, state, and federal aid. And yesterday I pulled up the latest current undergraduate number that get to enjoy this $85 million, and it's around 7,600. Now these are undergraduates. Do the math, and you can quickly see what UA Little Rock can provide for our students, for Little Rock, and for the state of Arkansas. I can't ever repay the university for what it's given me. I encourage students and alums to be ambassadors for UA Little Rock and to support it in any way you can. Again, thanks for this most special of awards.
Congratulations, Becky. Before I introduce this year's honoree, I'd like to recognize all of our distinguished alumni. Thank you for joining us on this special occasion. Each of you have achieved remarkable distinction in your chosen field and make important contributions to our community. Our 2020 UA Little Rock Distinguished Alumnus is the Honorable Ron Sheffield. After serving in the U.S. Air Force, Ron earned a bachelor's degree in political science and a Juris Doctor from the UA Little Rock School of Law, now the William Boeing School of Law. He was the first African American in the school's history to be inducted into the Letterman's Hall of Fame in 2014 as a baseball player. A .346 hitter who started in center field, Sheffield had a reputation as an outstanding hitter and base runner and earned NAIA All-District honors in 1971. In 2004, Ron ran for lieutenant governor against Winthrop Rockefeller. In 2010, he was appointed to the Arkansas Supreme Court by Governor Mike Beebe. He also served as Deputy Commissioner of the Arkansas Insurance Department, where he investigated complaints against insurance companies. This led to the establishment of a consumer division to expose insurance schemes that defrauded college students, farmers, and others. We will now watch a tribute to Ron by his daughter, Miss Nikki Sheffield, and Mr. Lee Douglas, a former colleague at the at the Insurance Commission Department.
I first knew Ron when I joined the insurance department in 1988. I learned real quickly that he was quite the celebrity at the department because he worked in the consumer affairs division, so he represented a lot of the consumer issues. He was not afraid to confront an issue. He was really there to help. He'd have a smile on his face.
Me and my dad, he was like a best friend. He was that mentor, that coach. He was kind of like that moral compass for me, thinking about my actions and consequences, not only when I was young or young adult, but even now. We did things together, golf, running, all sorts of sports. He took me along with him. When he was at the insurance department, just meeting the public, he would actually go out to areas of the state that have been devastated by tornadoes or floods and meet with the people, make sure that they have their insurance information, what could a public servant or the state do to help the residents of Arkansas. He showed me that this is how you relate to people and you help them when they're at their lowest or when they need assistance. I didn't recall seeing anyone else from the insurance department or in his capacity doing that. He's done a lot in the community, and a lot of it's focusing on helping people. Ron is a consumer advocate, and really consumer advocate really doesn't describe him. He's more of a warrior. Being helpful, being accountable, being responsible to further assist anybody in any walk of life, be it personal or professional, he's always been that person. You know, while he was doing that, he was going to school out here at UA Little Rock. He got his undergraduate degree here. He worked on his master's in public administration here. Going to school here, obviously it was a good experience. There was some, segregation, some issues, but he didn't really harp on that or let that hold him back in achieving his degree and then going on and getting his JD. When I became commissioner, he became the deputy commissioner. We were both appointed by then Governor Bill Clinton, and so he continued in that role. He never lost that consumer advocate edge. He also ran for lieutenant governor. I think he was the first African American to be nominated by the Democratic Party. Definitely a very proud moment. And he was running against Win Rockefeller. And I think people were maybe afraid to run against Rockefeller.
not Ron.
My dad and Mr. Rockefeller had a great relationship. I mean, it wasn't the political turmoil that you see nowadays. It was actually the best man will win. I support you in your endeavors.
You know, he did pretty well. I mean, for a first-time statewide race, I want to say he garnered about 40% or so of the vote.
So he really looked at the position and how he could better serve the citizens of Arkansas. He enjoyed staying active. He loves to support the ULR Trojans and going to the games, and I guess that's just to kind of stay engaged, to be supportive.
Well, I think Ron is the epitome of public service. A lot of people do things today for personal gains, and you know, Ron just didn't do that. I think for distinguished alumni, you've taken what you've learned here, what you've experienced here, and you've taken it out to the community. And I think it says something not only for Ron, but for UA Little Rock, that he's really paying back what he took from UA Little Rock.
To actually be acknowledged by, the alumni, the public, to win this award, it's well deserved. That's just who my dad is. He's always been that distinguished gentleman in my life.
Ron, congratulations on receiving the Distinguished Alumni Award from UA Little Rock. It couldn't go to a more deserving person than you. Congratulations.
Daddy, I am so super proud of you. Once again, you have set that bar even higher, and so congratulations on your award. Love you.
Please join me in congratulating the 2020 University of Arkansas at Little Rock distinguished alumnus, the Honorable Ron Sheffield.
Thank you very much. James, Mr. President, thank you. Chancellor Drayle, it's good to see you. To Lee and, my daughter, I don't know that I've heard her say those many kind words about me my whole life, but I have no prepared speech. I just want to say that I think of my mother, and she used to tell me every time you would leave the house, she would say, remember who you represent. Somebody is always looking at you. And I've tried to conduct myself and my life as if somebody was always looking at me. Most importantly, my daughter, because I know that I represent her, and I would never do anything that would have her lose her respect for me. For my family, my wife, my son, my granddaughter, I know that I represent them. And when someone sees me, I'm representing everybody that looks like me. This distinction that you've offered to me is because I represent all of the alumni that graduated from UALR. Those people who graduated, went to work every day, had families, raised children, did everything they could to represent their community and to bring distinction upon UALR in some small way. So when you honor me with this award, you're really giving it to every UALR alum, because I represent them, they represent me, and they represent the University of Arkansas at Little Rock. Again, thank you for this award. It's not for me, it's for all of those people I represent. Thank you very much.
Wow. I know you, like me, have been impressed and are absolutely inspired by these distinguished UA Little Rock alumni. Earlier, Chancellor Drell shared that behind every successful student is a community that rallies together for them. At UA Little Rock, we have rededicated ourselves to educational attainment by improving access through our expanded scholarship opportunities and by enhancing student success with more investment in wraparound student services. You'll want to support these initiatives, and today you can do so by honoring Katie, Becky, and Ron with a gift to the Alumni Scholarship Fund. Giving is easy, and as we like to say, it's enjoyable. Just text UALR to 41444. Or feel free to reach out to me or Christy Smith or any of our team directly about how you can create exceptional opportunities for our students. They are the distinguished alumni of our future. Thank you for joining us for the 2020 virtual UA Little Rock Distinguished Alumni Award celebration. We do look forward to being together in person again very soon. Congratulations to each of our honorees, Ron Sheffield, Becky Blass, and Katie Zakreski. Be well and go Trojans.